what's going... Oh, Kerbal Space Program. Take-Two just nuked the second studio that was working on it. The first time they nuked a studio, they basically... the studio was operating more or less independently, but Kerbal Space Program 2 was really their only contract that they were working on. So Take-Two basically pulled the contract out from under them, which basically left them with years into a project that they now no longer had rights to work on. And that pretty much closed their doors immediately. Take-Two just so happened to set up a new developer that was under their control, and they offered, a lot of those people jobs there. Well, now cue a few more years later, and they've just simply shut that down. They basically let go, I believe it was around 70 or so people. So right now, as far as anyone is aware, there is no developer for Kerbal Space Program 2. It is stalled, and it's very likely that Take-Two probably doesn't see it as being all that profitable. They got most of their initial sales with the early access when they launched it broken. And believe me when I say when they launched it broken, they launched it broken. I watched professional KSP players be unable to launch ships, to get orbits, to do rendezvous, to land on the moon. The game was broken. And even after some of those initial problems were fixed, it's pretty clear that the dev team they did not get, I guess you could call it, the spirit of Kerbal Space Program. They dismissed certain things as just unnecessary or overcomplicated. Well, here's the thing. If you're playing Kerbal Space Program, you're not doing it because you want a simplified game experience, I'm sorry, but Kerbal Space Program is literally rocket science the game. We expect it to be hard. We don't want things dumbed down. You can give us tools to make things easier. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with, I play my game with MechJeb. I have a flight computer with me. The stock game doesn't come with that. You're pretty much flying by the seat of your pants, which is incredible, don't get me wrong. And I'm pretty good at even that stuff. But there's sometimes that you just want a flight computer. There are some things that are just mundane that you don't want to deal with the minutia of, and it's easier to just plug it into a flight computer. But anyway, Kerbal Space Program 2 is effectively permanently unfinished, with no evidence that anyone can see that Take-Two is going to have anyone else continue working on it. And of course, because Take-Two bought it from the original developer Squad, they now own the IP, and let's be honest, we know what this means. Kerbal Space Program is pretty much going to be stuck in IP purgatory. Take-Two owns it, and they're probably not going to do a thing with it. And that makes me so mad. KSP2 has a lot of stuff that was promised and is probably never going to be finished. I really don't see them pulling together a third developer to work on it. I really don't. Why'd that stop? Because it's not set to loop. Why did that not work? Weird. whatever is fixed. But yeah, so yeah, KSP 2 is pretty much probably toast. And KSP 1 already has had development ended on it. So what we've got is where it sits. That's not a terrible thing because it's in pretty good shape. Modded KSP 1 probably can outdo anything KSP 2 can do. And KSP 1 is DRM free. So I'm not too worried about the future of Kerbal Space Program overall. There will always be that game out there, but future development is pretty much ruined at this point. I don't see any real future with Take-Two doing anything with it that's meaningful or positive. Which really bums me out, but that's just reality. But like I said, at least KSP 1 is still around. It's not going anywhere, and it's got a pretty good modding community.